Okay.
All right, I'm going to mute now.
All right. All righty, everyone. Thank you for sticking around and tuning into more of this year's edition of Slurpathon. My name is Vonnie Vaughn. I'm going to be your host for the next couple of runs here. The first of which is going to be a race of the messenger between Fruity Waffles and Min Fin. And we'll talk a little bit about that in just a second. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention that we've got a little bar in the upper left corner of our screen here. And you might notice that it is full. We have hit our current goal of $4,500 raised for Extra Life, which is amazing. Y'all have done a fantastic job bringing in lots of money for the kids, and we do appreciate that greatly. Want to let you know we still have plenty of marathon going on today, so because of that, we are going to introduce a new goal. Let's see if we can get to $6,000. That would be pretty sweet, and we've got plenty of donation incentives, which I'll talk about coming up here, that will help you out with that. But let's go ahead and get to this run here, a race of messenger between Fruity Waffles and Min Fin. Now, I noticed that we are doing the 8-bit no out of bounds category. Do you want to kind of explain a little bit more about what that is or what that means?
Yeah. So, hello, my name's Min. I'll do a quick rundown of the category. So, the messenger has 3 primary categories, which is 8-bit, linear, and any percent. The 8-bit portion runs through the first part of the game up until Arcane Dawn, where all of the graphics and all of the sound is listed as 8-bit so it's like NES style. So it's going to be lower, quote unquote, lower quality graphics and sound. And then as you move on through the game and you get into the linear portion, it bumps up to 16-bit. So the sound and the graphics look a lot better. But we're only going as far as Arcane Dawn. So that's why we call it the 8-bit. No out of bounds means we are not going to be doing anything to go out of bounds, which is a normal thing. There are 2 exceptions to that. Anything that is a movable object, such as a crusher, we could potentially phase into if we jump in the right spot. That is fine, because it's unintentional and accidental. And then there's one stage where we jump over the top of the screen. We're not passing through any barrier. We're just literally walking on top of the tree, which just happens to sit literally at the top of the screen.
Out of bounds is really fun. You just break the game in half.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's the basics of it.
Sounds cool. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Well, are you gentlemen ready to go?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm good to go.
All right. Fruity, since I introed, you can do the countdown. And then we've got House Hollywood and Minus with us that are going to be doing the commentary, because as racers, we will likely stay a little quiet. So they'll fill you guys in on all the fun stuff to make us look good with their words. But Fruity, go ahead and start the countdown, and then Minus and Household, y'all get ready to make us look good.
Alright, I will go from 5 then. Alright. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
And we're off. Hello, everyone. My name is Minus, and then here with me is How Tall It Would. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I hope everybody's doing well, too. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic. It's always a good day and a good morning when I get to wake up and see some hype messenger action. So, How Tall It Would, let's talk about... because they already mentioned the categories, so they're starting off the game in New Game, which means you're starting it from the very beginning, straight up new file, and all they got with them is the ability to jump, move, slash and stab, and Cloud Step, which is the ability to hit something and get that kind of cloudy animation underneath Ninja, which allows you to jump again, and you can do that for as much as you want for each slap. So we're going to use that heavily to keep moving and keep going fast.
Yep, and it's one of the things you'll see as we go through the game. Pretty much with each level, I think with 1-2 exceptions, essentially, you're going to get a new tool to play with. But one of the things that's really interesting is early on, especially when you have no tools, there are all sorts of little small optimizations that you'll see, like jumping around corners. That way you start getting more momentum downwards sooner, stuff like that. little tricks you can do with the sword. We'll see things like boosting off certain enemies, which we will get to see very, very soon. It's really neat little trick, kind of just basic movement stuff. All sorts of little things like that, and it just gets more and more complex as we go through each level.
Absolutely. As we start speeding through and picking up items, as you said, we will get to see that new functionality when it go faster and faster and faster. We're starting off in our first real stage of this run, which is Autumn Hills, appropriately called Reset Hills by a lot of the runners, as it is the level you will probably see the most in your speedrunning career. So thank everything that the music is so fantastic.
Yes, and as I mentioned, as you can see what the runners are doing, you've got these green Kappa enemies, and pretty much any enemy in the game that has more than 1 health, when you hit them, it actually pushes you in the opposite direction that you're facing. So there's this neat little trick we can do, because the sword in this game is so unbelievably jank, where if you face a specific direction and then turn around, you can essentially get a boost in whatever direction you want off of that enemy. So there are all sorts of little fun ways you can do this. You can either jump over an enemy and just hit them from behind, or you can actually, as both runners just did, you can do this little jiggle movement and gain that momentum from the front side and throw yourself over enemies.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely considered a higher tier kind of strat. Very precise, the button presses and the timing, and messing it up can actually cost you more time than it saves. So you'll see a death on Minfin's side.
I accidentally got caught in the spike pit there the wrong way.
He was going for it.
Yep.
I respect that. I respect it so much. On Fruity's side, jumping into the first kind of water section, in 8-bit you won't see as much, but we love to talk about and funny enough bring it up during these times where you kind of hear the music muffle a bit. We call out the sound engineering and the music for the game, and shout outs to Rainbow Dragon Eyes, the composer for the Messenger. All the music and the sound engineering is amazing.
Go for it again. There we go. Yeah, so what happened to Minfin earlier is, so there's this, the way the spikes in this game work is, depending on where you're positioned, you can, whenever you take damage, you will either bounce to the left or the right. And so we throw ourselves into that spike pit with the hopes of getting a boost to the right-hand side, so that way we can skip waiting for the swing. And sometimes if it goes wrong, and you try to make it anyway, even if you get a left boost, you will unfortunately die.
That's right. It's very pixel and position specific on which direction you go, because all of the sprites for the spikes are smashed together. It's really hard to eyeball which side of a spike you should really hit, but you kind of get a feeling less about what you're aiming for and more about where you're jumping from. That's kind of the easiest way a lot of us do it. As Min's going over it, we can mention both of the runners getting the spike tower, which is another big strat that you kind of pick up when running this game for this level. Hopping over that tower, saving you a few seconds. Autumn Hills and Catacombs are key levels in 8-bit, as the biggest save of time is, it all just comes down to how well do you execute simple functionality of the game. They haven't given you anything fancy to work with. There's not much to think about. It's just tight movement and confidence in the next room as you're entering it.
Yeah, it's honestly as much fun as this game gets, and it does get very, very fun with some of the tools you get access to, especially at the very end. Just the level of precision and optimization you can do, even with the most basic tools in these first 2 levels, is just absolutely, it's just a complete joy, both to play and to watch.
I'll bring up the shops again in a second, because I want to talk about that as Fruity is going into the first fight, kind of moving there, using the shurikens, trying to get the hits, and gets a 1 cycle. So that 1 cycle requires an upgrade that we picked up before. So time shards, which is the kind of floating currency you see them picking up or getting from lanterns, especially in the early parts of the game, is very important, being sure that you have the amount of money you need for each and every shop we're going to stop at, which in 8-bit is going to be 4 shops. So the first shop we stopped and we picked up the climbing claws, which allowed Ninja to jump and climb on walls. And then the second shop we stopped and we picked up 2 upgrades. Well, in the first shop we also got the ability to slash enemy projectiles, and that's very important. In the second shop we picked up shurikens and the ability to aerial recover from damage. So the aerial recover is going to help with some more strats as we try to damage boost through things. And then the shurikens allow us to do that 1 cycle that both runners get. As Minfin's finishing it off and as Fruity comes into Catacombs.
Yeah.
How tall? What do we know about Catacombs?
So Catacombs is a stage that is either going to crush your soul or you're going to leave very happy. There are a few tricks in here that can save a lot of time. Some of them are pretty hard, and it all ends in a boss with a 50-50 shot that will either save or lose you 7 to 9 seconds, depending on how well you've optimized the fight. This Catacombs is absolutely filled to the brim with crushers, and so you've got things like underwater saw blades and, as I mentioned, the crushers that you're trying to meet certain cycles for. Like this room right here that Fruity's going through now is a really good example. If you can get through that room fast enough, you'll be able to get past that spike crusher, and it saves a pretty significant amount of time. There's a lot of stuff in there like that.
We kind of see it on Memphis Creed over there where he's coming into the first Ruxton room. Ruxton being the boss of this stage. We're going to see, I think Min's going to go for a skip here, and he got bumped. So this is another example of spike damage, where Minfin's trying to use the spikes to get pushed in the direction he wants. Unfortunately, he got pushed left again. Spike's just not working for him today, but what he was shooting for was to have those spikes push him right. That kind of damaged fall animation and is faster than swimming normally, and we used that to skip a cycle in that room. It is incredibly close even when you get it. Unfortunately, he got bumped left, so he had to kind of adjust based on that.
Yeah.
Min taking another death off the crusher, just showing you how important those cycles are and knowing where you are in them. He was trying to cut that corner and make it, but he barely missed it and got hit by the spikes.
Yeah, that's just another one of those things.
Oh, here we go with Fruity. Unfortunately, doesn't get it.
So there is a trick there that we call Badonk, where essentially you are falling through the floor and trying to get a cloud step off that green kappa, and using it to essentially skip that second Ruxton gauntlet. There's a trigger on the floor, and if you can jump over it, you just don't activate it. You get to skip that combat section entirely. It saves a pretty significant amount of time, and hopefully here in just a few seconds we will get a second opportunity and see if Minfin can pull that off.
A fun fact about that particular strat is when you skip over that cutscene, the game never figures that you've done it. So that trigger stays live the entire time. That's only notable when you come back through here. If you're doing anything longer, like an any percent run, you will go back through that room. And if you happen to go into the cutscene trigger at the time, you will get stuck in the cutscene and actually in a different situation where there are spikes in that room, typically where Ninja stands, and you will most likely die from being stuck in that cutscene. And it's unfortunate and kind of funny. No, just unfortunate. Anyway. So we're gonna see Min try to go for Badonk while Fruity's coming into Ruxton right now. What we're hoping to see is Ruxton appear on that top platform. If he does, that's the best you can hope for. If he decides no, I don't feel like it, and goes low, that's an 8-second loss, just like that.
And there's
so
the
just yeah. So, nice on the Badonk from Min. That's what you want to see. So he gets to save all of that time. It's a good time save, one of the biggest time saves you can have in Catacombs. So we're gonna see Fruity come through here and take out the boss. Since it's low, you already have that time loss, but there's still the key of trying to get that boss down as fast as possible. So that's a good low fight from Fruity.
Yeah, Ruxton, again, is a boss that is pretty much entirely RNG, and it's just one RNG trigger. Everything else is pretty much set, so you either win the 50-50 and save a bunch of time, or lose it and don't.
So as
he went low, so we step on his toes.
That's right. So as Fruity's going into Bamboo, I missed if Minfin actually went for the scary ball skip right there.
He did indeed.
He always does. He's getting me to start doing it. Like, I can't not do it now.
It's it
is contagious.
Very scary trick.
Yeah, because that hit will kill you if you're even, frame slow. That hit will kill you. And it's a costly death. So we'll see if Minfin saves any time with a high while Fruity goes through Bamboo. Bamboo being another key level. It's kind of your nice vacation level, lore-wise, and you're coming through. We get a low there as well. So it's our nice vacation level. There's a couple of cycles here, some really neat skips, and it's another just solid, how well can you execute each and every room with the simple mechanics of the game. And a good top kill for Minfin.
Yeah, Bamboo, it really is just a vacation level. Beautiful scenery, ton of fun, no boss at the end to worry about. It's quite nice.
What you saw Fruity do there just now was what Min was kind of discussing before. He used that fireball and he jumped on top of that tree there. That was slightly discussed and contested as out of bounds since you're hovering kind of in the UI, but that is not an out of bounds part. Whereas there are some areas we do something similar, but you transition screens and move forward, and that would be what we consider out of bounds. Fruity deciding to completely opt out of a big skip in this room and just taking the elevator straight up for consistency. We'll see if Min's able to get that and catch a little bit of time up. Doing some nice, what you notice, turtle boosts, but off of the kind of triggers there. Those things will also kind of push you back so you can manipulate them to get that speed moving.
Yeah, it's a turtle boost, just very hard trick. Lots of different ways to optimize them, but it's kind of one of those things where once you start doing them, it's pretty addicting, and you just find ways to put them everywhere, and putting them on things like those switches can save so much time.
They take a lot of practice, but they're good. So another key point here is Fruity's coming into the waterfall area. You take a look at your time shards at this point. He's got more than enough. You're shooting for at least by the bottom of that waterfall room. You'd like to enter there with between 251 254. That's how you know you got plenty. He had 256 going in there, 255, something like that. So he had more than enough. And he's going great to have the 275 he needs going into the shop at the beginning of Grotto here. To pick up the wingsuit, speed, swim ability, and the ability to attack while gliding.
Save the bats.
Yeah, batless percent win.
So we had in there go for and to skip, but unfortunately was unable to catch the projectile. The skip that you see there that he was trying to do, you essentially get you slash the kappa there, get a cloud step, jump up, hit a projectile, and then there's a really precise ending to it where you have to, what we call a one tile, which I forget what the exact number of frames you have to pull it off, but it is very tight, and one tiles are, in my opinion, evil.
One of the tough parts is that it's animation based as well, so it's about positioning and the animation cycles that you're on when you get to the position. Min, even with the death, still has plenty of money going into the waterfall, which is nice, so you won't have to be concerned or have to pick up any backup shards before going into Grotto. We look over at Fruity's side coming into the DK skip room, known mostly for its, like the way that it's shaped and reminiscent of the old Donkey Kong games. Won't be going for the DK skip itself. Will instead take a little damage there to shave off a few frames, finishing off that room otherwise normally, and then doing a little reverse turtle boost to finish off the room.
Yeah, and then hopefully we get a second opportunity to see that skip. It is very precise timing. You're essentially skipping one of those saw cycles to save a few seconds there.
It can be pretty tight, and it requires near perfect movement the entire half of that room that you're climbing up, including a solid aerial recovery damage boost in order to make that. So we'll see the only speed boost right there from Fruity going into the next room, using that speed boost to kind of yeet out of the water and finish the rest of that room quickly. Some folks will actually carry that yeet through to the next room, grabbing a cloud jump on the way out off of a lantern and actually clearing the entire room. It is scary, and if Kyle would please stop practicing it, I could sleep.
Yeah, that is it is one of the prettier tricks, in my opinion. Like, it's just so cool to see it pulled off, but it is very, very hard.
I have died more times than I want to admit in that room just from doing it normally. We see, I believe, Ben just got that DK skip there. Very good. That's what you want to see. Kind of jumping right in front of that spike, so that because the spike actually moves slower than Ninja runs, which is funny because Ninja runs slow. So being able to get in front of it will save you time overall.
Yeah, and then, so to follow up on something you had mentioned earlier, so the reason that despite having the unfortunate deaths that Minfin is able to have the shard count he had, so there is an additional character that we have yet to meet despite normally meeting the requirements called Corbel. The death mechanic for this game is essentially, instead of having lives or anything like that, when you die, you get this new friend named Corbel who follows you around for a while. He bad talks you when you die, and most notably, he eats your time shards. But whenever we take a death, we can just go to the title screen, come back, and Corbel's gone. So that saves us from having to not have enough time shards in situations like this.
You've seen what Minfin likes to do when he gets a Corbel is he'll actually quit to the main menu and come back, and that will despawn Corbel. So that's a way to kind of make up for that that time shard loss that you would otherwise get. So we didn't talk too much about the fight as Fruity is leaving it, but we'll talk about it as Minfin's coming in. So I think of this as a counting boss. If anyone out there, like me, has trouble counting to 7 or 8 while simultaneously playing a game, you might have a little trouble with this boss like I do. What they're going to be doing is they need to get 8 hits off that core. So they're going to do 7 hits to start, throw the shuriken for the 8th hit, and then go up top. And the reason they do that is to maximize the amount of time that they have up top to do damage to the Emerald Golem here. Kind of gets stuck on the shoulder a bit, so he's going to wait it out to hold off on the damage. Doing it this way will secure a 2 cycle on the boss and allow us to get to phase 2 even faster. He's running over, should still be plenty of time to get that second cycle. He's going to hang out there and commit. Oh, he didn't make it.
Oh, yeah. That's it's one of those problems. It just sometimes you can still make it when you miscount there, but the timing is very, very tight. Though notably, he didn't commit the shurikens there. If he had committed the shurikens, he might have had enough damage.
He might have. I didn't see how many hits it was after that. So he'll go down to phase 2. He's going to be very careful here. Good call.
Yeah, this.
Oh no! Oh my heart. That is a costly death. So he's going to do the entire fight again, and so he'll go do the same thing again, and we'll see that fight again. Switching over to Fruity while Minfin cleans that up. Fruity's going through Cool's room, finishing up the long room, which you used to call the right room until turtle boosting became more popular, and it was just a joke about it's one of the longest horizontal rooms in the game, and that you could get through it optimally by just holding right. Obviously not true anymore. Quill's room is kind of the next in that collection of levels where they're not going to introduce anything new from a mechanic standpoint. We're going to utilize what we got from Grotto to be able to glide, use some of the glide and the down attack, like the glide attack abilities to get through rooms faster than we normally could.
Sorry about that.
And have some, otherwise, like some challenging enemies added in. There's, we're going to see Fruity here set up, and there you go.
Beautiful.
Throw some shurikens.
Yeah, it's one of the things that's honestly just so amazing about how this game is designed, is it does an absolutely wonderful job giving you a new tool, giving you essentially a tutorial level to play with it, and then giving you a level afterwards to just essentially flex with it for a little while.
Yeah.
And Coolshroom is a beautiful, beautiful example of that.
I think so.
I'm going to chime in here real quick and just say I am definitely not playing anywhere close to what I normally do. Marathons, right?
We'll all have runs like that. And Emerald Golem is no joke. It can feel scripted, and it's typically a scripted fight for the most part when you're doing it. But one reason or another, you'll kind of get off that script, and everything just kind of goes poorly after that. You start taking hits you don't mean to. All of that happens. So
yeah, Emerald Golem, it's just all it takes is one thing to start to go sideways, and then just everything can cascade from there.
Mainly because of Phase 2, because Phase 2 has got too much RNG in it. So, judging which direction they're going to go, especially if you're going in with 1 health, stuff like that, incredibly scary. We're going into the Queen of Quills right now on Fruity's side. Fruity's going to go for, I think, the fastest version of the kill. We're going to see as he's setting up, trying to get a bunch of damage in this first phase, knocking her back down, saving a shuriken here. Let's see if he is going to use it. He's left side. He's going to burn him, and boom!
Beautiful.
With some swag. we don't have whips here. There's no whips in Fruity's side. All right.
That is another one of those fights where we have one of the other things in the game. We've got just a couple of tricks we try to pull off just to make sure that we can get enough damage in. That boss can go very, very long if you don't get enough damage in the 2 cycles there, pretty much in the exact way that you have to. It is a very, very hard boss to get fully optimized.
So well done, Fruity, on that fight, and we'll see Min go in and do the same. Fruity's coming into Searing Crags. Things are about to get a lot faster. We're going to go in and we're going to pick up the rope dart. It is not a grappling hook. It is not a whatever else you'd call it, a hook shot, nothing like that. It is a rope dart, no matter what the code will tell you. And we're going to use this, plus a couple of health upgrades we just picked up, to go really fast. This is where RDE now takes 2 meetings. RDE is not just Rainbow Dragon Eyes, the composer of the music for the game. It is now the statement that we are going to rope dart everything.
Yes.
Everything you can see. If we can rope dart it, we're going to rope dart it to try to go fast. Fruity's trying to do a right side for this room, which I've actually tried to practice as well. Min was showing me how to do this a while back.
It is a...
There we go.
Brutal. First try. There you go.
First try. There you go.
Always first try. Yeah, no. Rope dart really just...
and the pupa slide. And the pupa slide.
Yeah, rope dart really absolutely changes everything about how this game is played. There's so many different ways we can utilize it to speed up different rooms. There's things like the yeets that Fruity just showed off with that pupa slide he just did over the spikes, where you can retain momentum after going through them with the rope dart. Just lots of really cool things. And then probably, honestly, one of the biggest things it does is it makes every boss fight afterwards pretty much trivial in terms of difficulty. And then it's pretty much the final boss or the boss at the end of this level, really just an RNG check as to whether or not you're going to be able to get what you want. There is some pretty tough mechanical stuff you have to do with it, but pretty much you never have to worry about dying on that boss because rope dart pretty much makes you invincible.
Rope dart has a lot of different things that it does to mess with the game, most of which you probably won't see in this kind of run, but 2 notable ones. One is called teleporting, which we might see, and if we see it, I'll discuss it a little bit. But the iframes that Haltal is talking about, Min has taken 2 deaths so far, just to kind of split over. Min's been taking 2 deaths so far in Cool's room. One in the kind of U room. I think he took it on the kind of roof spikes when he was leaving out of there, and then it sounds like a death off of Queen of Quill. So he's coming in to show her how he feels about that. Coming back over to what Haltal was talking about, you have these kind of repetitive rope dart slash things that we're doing, and a lot of the animations of that, a lot of the frames, you have invincibility on, and so we'll use it a lot. We use it on this boss to stay on the boss and deal damage as we want. And a lot of other bosses, notably the final boss of this run, we're going to use it to stay somewhere we shouldn't be and keep damaging the boss. So as we were saying, this boss is a huge RNG check where they kind of make their own choices on what attacks they want to use, and the best you can do is react to it. He's sitting at 1 health right now and being safe. He's going to do some hits on it to instigate the switch, and there you go. Boss beat.
Jeez, that fight was bad. I had like 4 extra attacks.
Kolos and Suthis can be pretty brutal. They can just be mean sometimes, and if you don't if you mess up the rope dart invincibility at some point, that fight becomes very, very hard.
Mm-hmm. casually when you're not utilizing some of this function that they have, you're playing this game casually. These fights are difficult, especially your first playthrough. Shovel, please, in chat, of course, for Fruity, who's now entering Glacial Peak. So, Glacial is probably my favorite culmination level that we were kind of talking about, similar to Quillshroom, where you're going to come in and not really have much new, but we're going to utilize everything we got to optimize a wonderful level, and I don't think any level really speaks to that any better than Glacial Peak here.
Yeah, Glacial Peak is pretty much the level that you get to flex on in 8-bit. Sans the final level, which that is
that level flexes on you. That level flexes on you.
That's probably a bit more accurate. But Glacial, there's just so much rope dart tech to pull off, so much precise, like so many little movement tricks dealing with your momentum and stuff like that you can pull off. Just an absolute joy of a level to play and to watch.
So we see a little off-screen Hansan. Always love that. Hansan's is just a reference to the rope dart trick they're doing, where they're rope darting the bottom of kind of a doorway or entryway, and you hook onto it but don't grab the wall so that you can keep going. Optimal way to kind of leave a room or kind of move through it, and it's named Hansan after one of the early runners of the game.
Yeah, and then Minfin here coming up on the Kolos and Susus fight. Hopefully they are nice to him. I guess we'll just have to see.
As we're coming through, Fruity coming to the last part of Glacial right now. Going for the one tile. The one tile I can never get. Ever. Setting up. And gets a screen wrap kill. So he's going for a teleport. We'll see. Well, he won't try again. Do not try again. Okay, so... Do not. So, it's a... So, those little dragon heads that you see floating through... you got the one tile again. Okay, that's fine. So... you'll notice when he's coming through now, the dragon heads aren't in the same spot they were before. The cycles that they're on the first time you come through are static. They're set, but afterwards they are generated. So they're not going to be in the same position or in the same timing the next time you go through. When we practice it, we typically have to save and quit and then go back into the file in order to get them how we want them to be for practice.
And hopefully,
my heart can't handle this right now.
Yeah, no, seriously, dude.
Jax, I think I just pressed rope dart too soon.
Oh, it hurts.
And the same thing happened the second time around, but I was ready for it that time. So
there you go.
And hopefully we get a second opportunity to see that teleport. I guess we'll see. But so that teleport trick, if we do get to see it, is very cool. As you can see, when Fruity tried to do it there, this enemy further on the screen just randomly died. So there's this thing with the game that's really weird, where essentially if an enemy dies at the exact same time as another enemy of the same type enters the screen, like they just kind of both die. And one of the things we could do with rope dart is if we do this precise movement with it, essentially we can just teleport to that second enemy, and it's, well, obviously it saves a lot of time because you're just teleporting across the screen.
The technicals of it have to do with some of the fascinations of how rope dart works behind the scenes. And so, as it was explained, the rope dart kind of hooks onto the enemy and sets its state in a certain way where it actually sets like, this is the enemy and the type of enemy I'm coming to, and this is the enemy I'm going to come kill. But if it dies before the rope dart animation finishes, and at that same time another enemy of the same type is coming onto play, the code will recognize, oh, there's the enemy that I was killing, because that's the one that's still on screen. And then I know teleporting is kind of a misnomer, since you're not actually going from point A to point B instantaneously. You're instead moving incredibly quickly, so it flies you real fast to the enemy that it thinks you're supposed to kill, and so it appears to us like a teleport.
Yeah, it's another one of those things with like we mentioned at the beginning, with Ninja Sword being incredibly jank, where essentially you can just throw out an attack and
Lasers. We don't like them. lasers being one of the most damaging traps in the game, doing 4 slots of damage, as opposed to like spikes doing 3, whips doing 2, and everything else essentially doing 1.
Yeah, and as we mentioned earlier, the last level of the game, the one that Fruity is in now, Tower of Time, it just flexes on you sometimes, and you just have to kind of take it.
If you got to spot it on Minfin's side, it sounds like he did pull off the teleport, so that's an idea of what it looks like.
But right at the same time, y'all were going about something that happened on Fruity's side.
Oh, but if you want to check it out and you go back and you take a look, that's what it looks like. It's just like a fly over to the other enemy.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Very, very cool trick. Yeah, if you're interested in seeing more of those, the other categories, specifically linear and any percent, have a ton of them in it. Very cool trick.
So wait, as Freddy's kind of finishing off Tower of Time, the final level in the run, Minfin's coming into it right now. You can probably tell already from the runners coming in, this gauntlet of a stage is brutal. It's mean. They got Wizrobes everywhere. No one wants a Wizrobe room, and this one just has a ton of them. The rooms are brutal, and some of the stuff we go through is scary. We're gonna see actually Fruity try to go for a trick here. Takes 1 hit coming through on the lasers, 1 hit on the eyeball, comes into the Wizrobe room, and takes the hit from the Wizrobes because everyone likes a Wizrobe room. Okay, so that did not come from a place of yeah, that hasn't happened to me 15 million times.
Tower of Time is a source of a lot of pain for pretty much all of us. It is an absolutely brutal level with a lot of very high-level tricks that put you essentially on the brink of death over and over again. And that room there that Fruity just unfortunately died in is maybe the scariest room in the whole game when you go for everything, just because it leaves you at 1 health, and if you mess up at all, you just die to the Wizrobes.
Yeah, but there's so much tech because of just the level of skill and all the strats that can be found in here. There's so much tech to be found into practice, and you get to pick and kind of cherry pick the ones you like. I like the way Fruity does that, where he actually uses a rope dart. But you use a certain set of inputs to actually cause your slash animation to pop backwards, and you can attack the crystal through the wall, and that's the first crystal you hit. So you hit that crystal, and then you kind of skip a whole segment of what we call the time waster room. So it gets to waste just a little bit less time.
Yeah, it's a trick you see start to show up actually in Tower of Time, and the runners have been doing it a lot, and unfortunately we're just now getting to it, but crystal abuse, it's really cool, where essentially you continue to use how absolutely jank Ninja Sword is to just hit things you're not supposed to be able to hit at all.
That's right. We got Fruity coming into the final boss right now. The 8-bit time for Fruity is going to end on the final hit for the boss, so we'll try to help call that for you. But here's what How Tall was talking about. We are rope darting and kind of hanging inside of the arcane necklace here for Arcane Golem, where you normally take hits, but you're passing through them during the iframes. So as long as you can keep that pattern going, and that's time. So there's time for Fruity, very good. I saw, I believe, real time, a kind of low 33.
And fortunately, we had we actually got through that dreaded room this time without having to deal with as much Wizrobe jank, which is quite nice.
Yes, absolutely. Wizrobes.
That's Golem fight. That was probably the best Golem fight I've had.
It was really good, very
that
clean.
Was beautiful.
Oh,
and
that's right. That's right.
As Fruity goes to chill in one of my personal favorite levels in the game, Cloud Ruins, we will get our second shot at Arcane Golem here.
Doing the laser skip? Nah.
Oh.
He's a little too far back, a few pixels back, so he tapped the top tip of the final laser. So he's going to go into the fight with just 2 health. But that's 2 more health than he needs. Anyway, so he's going to go in, and he's like, whatever, I don't need health. All I need is my sword, my rope dart, and as little claps as possible. So let's see, as he's coming in, yeah. So he's coming in. He's gonna go for it. There's a really
good
quick.
rope dart.
There you go. Another one, but
Uh-oh.
good bounce back. Oh, he's not gonna like this. Oh,
Oh.
yeah.
So that is the danger with going for that laser skip. It is a very, very cool strat when you pull it off, but if
You
you
say
miss
danger.
it,
He says opportunity.
yeah, if you miss
do
it,
it
you are
again.
left with 2 health, and unfortunately, even as jank as rope dart is, and how easy it can make some fights, with those claps that Arcane Golem does, it can just send you all the way across the screen, and it is sometimes very difficult to get back in there without taking damage from his necklace.
There we go. So we're gonna see it in here on the final hit. That'll be time for
Coming
Infinity's coming in. We got the first flashes. The second one, time.
And of course, I get the second try damages. This was a horrible, horrible run.
Isn't that kind of? Doesn't that just like that? That is the subtitle of your run right there.
Yeah, that's the whole run.
Second try, first try every time.
I haven't played this bad in like 8 months. Like, this was a horrible run.
And yet you still made it one of the more entertaining ones. Definitely fun.
Usually, I like
Seeing got to
entertaining
show
by
off a
doing
lot of the
swag
strats.
stuff.
In fact, you got to show off a lot of the strats twice.
Yeah, don't remind me.
Most important, no, we didn't go over estimates. All that matters.
Also,
This is
yeah.
true. This is true.
Okay, but let's say that. Very good. That was a wonderful time. Fruity, what are you feeling? How you feeling?
That Death and Glacial was silly. Other than that, I'm pretty happy with that run. Did you notice in the shuriken room how I may have gotten squished by the door at the end?
You're talking about in Quill's room?
Yeah.
I did see you have to go back.
I think I would have been fine, but I was
Better
like,
safe than sorry.
I've never been squished by that door, and it would be a terrible time for it to happen for the first time.
Oh, very good. I had a wonderful time with this run, and y'all were amazing as always to watch. And then How Tall having you along was well to commentate. What a great time! I know that a lot of us actually are having another race and event that we're going to have to go to, so we'll cut it off here. But thank y'all so much for coming and hanging out with us. Y'all have a great rest of your marathon. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you for watching.
Alrighty, well, thank you everyone for all of the great racing action as well as the fantastic commentary for that race of the Messenger. Coming up next, we are going to have a run of The Legend of Zelda by BTs, who is going to be doing a 5-heart challenge. So that should be quite interesting. So we're going to get that set up. Please stick around. Now would be a great time to drop a donation if you would like to. I'd be happy to read that during this next run. So don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back with some Legend of Zelda action.